Oh no.
Oh,
I know.
she can't come.
Around.
Yeah, that's too bad. Yeah, that time of year. I'm always telling my kids, wash your hands.
Oh my goodness.
Don't touch your face. Don't touch anything until you wash your hands.
Especially at school. And then,
Oh my word.
like especially when is it like junior high or middle school when you start changing like class periods and you're like
Uh-huh.
like I just think of that movie Contagion where like everybody's touching
Oh,
everything and it like spreads so quick. Yeah,
yeah, for sure.
yeah. That's
Restore.
yes,
Oh,
that was a big one.
yeah. Yeah. So I guess we don't meet next week. That was nice that she gave us
Oh, that's nice.
Thanksgiving week off. Huh.
Yeah, that's
I
nice.
can't believe it's already Thanksgiving.
Oh my goodness. That was so
Hi.
Hi,
fast.
Rainy.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
It's just the three of us. Jade is really sick.
Yeah, I saw that.
Darn it.
Bummer.
So, yeah.
You good? You tired?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
Can,
word.
can you guys hear that? Like, it sounds like a gurgling in my throat. I don't know why
Oh.
it does that when I yawn.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I feel like it's super loud, but it almost sounds like a burp. But it's like it's
Yeah.
weird. I've always
Oh,
had
how
it. It comes
funny.
up from the side of my throat anyway.
If it makes you feel any better, we don't have a meeting next week.
Oh yeah,
I
I was like,
know.
woo.
We were just talking about that.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm ready. Okay, so if you want, since I was discussion leader last week, I can take notes this week.
okay.
Oh, that's great. Okay.
So I'm
And
trying to like actively stay involved. So
do you want me to be the discussion leader, or Juliana, or do you want to? Whichever.
It doesn't matter to me.
Have you
we're
been that
what?
for a while?
Yeah. How long has it been since you were one?
I don't remember. I could do it. I could do it.
Okay. Why don't, okay, you can do it. And
Or did you want to do it? Sorry.
if you want to do it, Juliana, that's great. So.
Okay. It seems like we don't have too many questions, right? Well, and then
No.
also we don't ever need to really discuss every one of them. So, uh,
Yeah.
Actually, they overlap.
yeah, and it just like it always generates like there's like a natural progression of it all in our
Yeah.
discussion.
Some of those questions this week, though, some of the questions on the not necessarily the hangout ones, but the other ones were kind of tricky. I was like, what?
Mm-hmm.
I even
Well,
emailed the teacher.
did you guys have the book that she was talking about
Yeah.
that we're supposed to read from?
The true
So
Yeah.
I never got that book.
Oh, you didn't? How are you doing it?
And so I've been just doing all the other assignments. So unfortunately, like I don't
Oh.
have it. But I don't know if they put it in like that it was optional in when I got my books, but they put all my books together when I go to pick them up from the school store.
Oh.
So,
I thought my grandma was saying like we needed to read out of this book, and I don't have it.
Yeah.
so the Sacred Duty book said that it was optional.
Yeah.
Like, but the other one, it
one.
didn't say.
I got the sacred.
I
have the sacred duty.
That's weird. Oh God.
So I will try my best to participate if any of the questions are about the reading, because I saw that she was like, a lot of the questions will be about the reading. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, they're all pretty much about that. Like, it gave pretty much all the examples were It gave example after example of people who have been affected by the religious liberty problem.
Well, I mean, as you guys tell examples, I'll probably have stories or something I can pipe in. I can have 2 cents. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I had no idea, and it's so late. Like I don't even know where I would get that book.
I'm trying to see if it's
hard.
on the libraries.
You don't have Amazon Prime, do you? Because you could get it in 2 days.
Well, and the thing is the semester's gonna end, and like, kind of don't want to get it, you know. I'm like,
yeah.
You know how you search like EBSCO host?
Yeah.
If you search Truth Overruled in that, I think this is the same book. Yeah. Okay. It looks like you are. Oh wait. Okay, it just references the book. This journal.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm not terribly heartbroken. I don't have it, but.
So, okay, let's do the questions and then we'll just see what happens, I guess.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like a lot of these questions are, like, at least the discussion questions aren't super specific to the reading. It's pretty general. So I think we'll be okay.
That's good.
Okay.
So, yeah, we're ready to start.
You're good.
Okay, so the first question is, how do we achieve fairness for all? A very general question, a broad question.
I think, I don't know, because I feel like there's never gonna be like an equality, because like, okay, I kind of in a political way, like if everybody's equal, if everything's the exact same and everything's fair, then we'd be communists. You know what I'm saying?
That's one thing that we learned in the book, though, Rainey, is what they're talking about there is it wasn't fair because the people that are wanting tolerance and equality after the people, they're going after people and they're not letting them exercise their, like, they want their rights taken to be considered, but they aren't letting the other people have their rights considered.
Yeah.
So it gave the example of the florist who was in business for 40 years.
Yeah.
And she was making flower arrangements for this guy named Richard. And she knew that he was gay. She would make the flower arrangements that he would give to his partner for a decade. They did that. They were good friends. And then Richard came to her and said, I want you to do the flowers for our wedding. And she said, she thought about it, and she knew that marriage was between a man and a woman, that's what God wanted. And so she very, very nicely told him, I can't do your wedding. That would go against everything that I believe in. And they left on good terms. There was no animosity, but someone found out, the opposition found out that she had turned him down, and they sued her. And she could lose her business, her house. So that's what they're talking about.
Yeah, and they showed that in the videos on the.
That was in the video. That's right.
Yeah.
So
but like.
fairness.
Oh, sorry. It's just cutting out really bad.
Oh, sorry. That's where the fairness. They're not being fair because they're not letting her exercise her beliefs, even though she wasn't saying she wasn't going to make him flowers because he was gay.
Mm-hmm.
She just wasn't doing it because
that's where I was going with that, was like, I don't think we're ever going to have like a completely fair society, because if we did, like I said, then it would turn into a communistic society.
Okay, so did you read the thing that he gave in the book was he mentioned the First Amendment Defense Act.
Yeah. Exactly.
Are you
and
familiar with that?
Yeah, we talked about that too. It's just like defending others' rights. I think that's important.
The First Amendment Defense Act is something that has been to Congress. It's in the works. Mm-hmm. And what it would do is it would protect the forest. It would protect the forest when it came to marriage. And what was the other thing? Something else. They would not have to. They couldn't be penalized for standing up for their beliefs.
Yeah.
And they used the term the least bit of the least restrictive means. Mm-hmm. So let's say an example would be if a couple wanted someone to take their wedding pictures. So all of the photographers die. They all die except for one. Right? I mean, that's an extreme example, but let's just say that they can't find anybody else to take their photo but this one photographer, because everybody else is dead. Then the government could say, okay, you've got to take their picture because there's no other photographer. But that's what the least restrictive means. It means that you've got to take their picture because nobody's here. But it's not going to fine them or make them pay sue them, put them in jail. That's not what would happen. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Anyway, sorry I've talked too much.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I was just typing. So, but that's what I'm saying is, like, in order to have a fairness for all, we have to be able to, like, and I think that's the problem is, like, you talked about how people want tolerance and equality. Yeah. Let us have the same thing. And I think that's the only way we're going to gain that. Like, it's never going to be fair. The world is not going to be fair. We're never going to achieve that completely. But
that's why we're fighting for religious freedom. Is we have
to there's things we can do to create like a greater fairness. But it's never going to be completely fair. The world is right now.
Do you have anything to say, Julia?
Well, when I read the question initially, like, how do we achieve fairness for all? I felt like fairness was used intentionally instead of equality for all, because like there are ways to be fair that aren't necessarily equal. Like I just think of parenting, for example, like as a parent, you and your child may not have like equal rights. This is like a very like elementary example, but that's what popped into my head. Like you're not going to give your child the same like equal like privilege like you do to like eat ice cream before dinner or something, you know. But there can be fairness, like your child can get the ice cream just like in a different circumstance. Does that make sense? I feel like that's kind of like a stretch, but that's what came to my mind in terms of like fairness versus equality. So
yeah, the one thing I was thinking about that kind of leads into that next question, but like it has to be between, like, people have to be kind and considerate. Like the opposition is really aggressive right now. Like they're not happy with just getting their rights. They want everyone to agree with their point of view. They're pushing it further than just getting what they getting what they want. That's part of the problem.
Mm. Yeah, and like and when if it was what was her name? I can't pronounce her name. But
oh, Baronella or something.
Yeah. Like I had mentioned this in my discussion board post, but like there's so many different cases very similar to that, but like especially in cases where they're like people have like attacked another person's livelihood over something
right,
that just could have been solved way more civilly.
right.
Like, and then the point is like you have to treat me with respect, but let me just ruin your life first.
Don't you wonder about that Richard guy? Like, I kind of wonder if he's been told not to go talk to her or something, because it seems very weird that they left on such good terms and then she's being sued, and you know that powerful opposition that went against her.
Yeah.
I just have a hard time believing, like, years down the road, is he going to come back and be like, I am sorry that happened?
Yeah.
You know, it seems like we're missing something there.
Well, then, like, I just think about like himself. He could have been neutral about it, and liked her as a person, so it didn't bother him. But like he brought it up in passing to like his friends and stuff, and his friends or family could have been like no, that's not right. You have to sue.
They knew, you know? And they knew it was a hot topic, right? They knew it was hot.
That's what would make sense to me.
Yeah, no, I was thinking the same thing, because like people, I feel like they're easily influenced by other people depending on the situation they're in and the people they're around. So he could have said, oh yeah, it's fine with her, but then he turns around and tells his friends or his family that it's like, and they're like, oh no, it's not fine, just like you said. And he's like, oh, you know what, maybe it's not, like something could have like changed in the course of just talking to somebody else. I see that happen all the time when I'm with my friends or family.
But the problem is he wasn't the one that sued her.
I know, which is
it was which is the next question. It was a third, it's a third party lawsuit. Yeah. It was a whole other main civil rights group that sued her.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess do you want to say the next question?
Yeah, I was just
led into it.
We go right to the next question.
Yeah.
What is the legal precedent for these lawsuits?
Or there's that one, is how do we address the third party lawsuits?
Oh.
Is that the next one?
No, that was the second one. That was the one we were just on.
Okay. Did we answer that one with the third party lawsuits?
I don't know directly. How do we address it?
So, that First Amendment Defense Act thing that we talked about would protect citizens who would use their services.
The RF
against the police. Yeah. No, this is the one that they just came. It was introduced by an Idaho representative, which is kind of cool. Rural Labrador. So it's still in Congress right now. And what it would do is it would protect people who refuse to offer services that went against their beliefs and values. So it doesn't mean that like in the book, it told a whole bunch of examples of the one that you just mentioned, Juliet, that there's a national, states went to try to do it. It's called the RFRA, and it's a national thing right now, and the states went to pass it, and the media and the government officials went crazy in every state that they tried to pass that in the state. So you can imagine when the First Amendment Defense Act starts to go through, it's going to get attacked like that too. But all it means is that, you know, it doesn't mean that a restaurant's not going to serve gay people. It just means that a restaurant's not going to hold a gay wedding in their restaurant, you know?
Yeah, and what I found interesting, like, between watching, because it was like reading in the book kind of like made my eyes cross, because I just have a hard time reading like that kind of language, like about government issues.
Mm-hmm.
But, there's a part in it, and I'll read it so Rainey could hear too, but it says like, so there's like the RFRA, and you probably watched that video like of them debating a little bit about it, but it said like,
yeah, that's
there
right.
was like a fix for it, that state legislators and the governor like made a fix to it that exempted sexual orientation and gender identity laws from like being included in that. And like let me see. And then so then I think that's where that video left off. I was trying to like put the two together. I don't know, like in the timeline of things. I don't know if it was clear to you, Chanel. But yeah, it was just interesting because like then that would make sense if the fix came before that whole debate that we had to watch. Like it would make more sense in context, because now I understand what they meant by like it just them saying that the law was like way too broad. Like it's just not specific enough to make a change, I guess. That's what those
well, if this First Amendment Defense Act passes, then it makes they can never sue. No one would be able to sue a person for not providing the service. So the third party lawsuits would go away.
Yeah.
Right?
The FAA.
The government. Yeah, the government could come and say. Yeah.
What about okay, so this is, think about this. So there's like non-discriminatory acts and stuff put in place, so like you can't like refuse to hire somebody based off of like sex, right, race, whatever, you know, right? But then I see sometimes I go into stores and shops that say we refuse to serve anybody for any reason. Do you think like if they have a sign like that, do you think that they can still like get away with that without getting sued? Or is that just like you're just trying to get around it, but you could still get sued for being discriminatory? You know what I'm saying?
So that's why like this First Amendment Defense Act, it's specifically for marriage. Like it's aimed at marriage. It's not aimed, and that's where the media and stuff went wrong on that RF, whatever that is, the RFRA thing. They thought that they're trying to get it to say, well, this is just going to make it so everybody's going to discriminate gays again, just like how we did blacks and all this stuff. They're comparing it, but it doesn't have anything to do with that. It has to do with marriage. But it's only about marriage. So that's where they got that wrong. So it's not like they will do anything. They won't. There are probably people in the country who still look at a gay person and treat them bad. I mean, there probably are, but the government would only the government would protect those people who won't serve them as a that goes against their beliefs. Like I don't think that anybody's going to say, I'm not going to serve. I don't know. I was wondering about that. Like, well, would they say, oh, you can't come in my restaurant because you're gay? I don't think.
They tried to give like that example, like an example in that little video clip, the CNN one. There was, I can't remember.
Oh, yeah.
The one about like if an owner, like a Muslim owner, like only allows patrons in if they're wearing a hijab. Like, is that discriminatory or something? Like, they were like really pushing it, like trying to twist it.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's like, I guess that's like the hard thing about it. Let me see if this relates to.
Well, and it's hard to. I think it's hard for people to separate that, like, something for a marriage is discriminatory because it's against your beliefs. It's so religion class that I talked to, literally we're talking freedom, like in right hand in hand. But we talked about there have cases of same-sex marriages and stuff. Again, people are thinking it's discriminatory, but it's like, that's just against my beliefs. Like, I'm not going to do it for you, you know?
You broke up really bad, Rainey. I could hardly tell.
Oh no, where did I stop? Where did I break up?
Well, it just was like, yeah, it was hard to understand what you were saying, darn it.
I have a lot of friends over out in the living room, and so I think they're probably all like on the internet right now. Can you hear me?
When you said that, I could hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I was saying I have a lot of friends out in the living room right now, and so they might be all on the internet, and that might be why. But no, I think part of the problem is like, so we were talking about like I'm in this religious freedom class, right? And freedom, sorry, I'm in my religion class, but we're talking about religious freedom.
Okay.
And in the class, we had mentioned, we had talked about how there have been cases of like bishops refusing to perform same-sex marriages. And we're like, we could get really attacked for that because, you know, like that could be discriminatory, but it's like, that's against my religious beliefs. Like, I'm not gonna, I feel like it's the same thing, you know?
So do you know in, we lived in Belgium for a while. And in Europe, they go to the city hall, the equivalent, to get married. And then they go to the temple to get sealed. And you can guess why, right? There, you know, Europe is us, and they took marriage, for safety, they've taken marriage away of the religious leaders, marry them. So they go to the city to get married, and then they go to the temple and be sealed. So that solves that problem. And that's probably what will, you know, that's what could end up here too, is marriage will not be a religious ceremony anymore.
Wow.
So if they start making bishops do that.
Could you imagine? Oh gosh.
So we could still do temple sealings, you know. They'll be like, well, you can be, until they start saying that you have to. I don't think that they can make people be sealed in the temple. It doesn't mean that they wouldn't know what that meant, you know.
Yeah.
So.
But it's so crazy to me that, like, why is our religion getting attacked for something like that when there's so many other religions and so many other people that could perform that? And it's just like the flower shop thing. Like, there's so many other things that people could do. Our religion keeps getting attacked just because we're the like outsiders, I guess.
However, there was only one example this week with an LDS person, right? The one with stomping on the paper.
Yeah. Yeah.
The other examples, none of them were LDS. They were all of other faiths.
Yeah.
This is a big time to, we have to connect with, together with all these other people who are faithful, even in different religions. We're going to have to work together, huh?
Yeah.
Oh no.
And like,
oh no, you just broke out.
Chanel did?
I didn't hear any of that.
Oh no.
Okay, did you guys answer that question about the legal precedent? What's the legal precedent for these lawsuits?
Like as they stand now? Is that what it's asking?
That was one of the questions. I was like, what? That's the one I emailed the teacher about.
Yeah. So like, I don't know. It was hard for me to tell. But I think the legal precedent of like at least the RFRA is that let's see.
This is what she said. She said the legal rule of law, and then she put in parentheses, I call it the reason or the rule of thumb. Remember, the main reason or the rule of thumb.
Oh, so she just defined it for you? She didn't necessarily, okay.
Like she said that's what, so I think what it means is that the government is supposed to protect the liberty of all citizens, their equality before the law. The government must treat everyone equally. Sector are free to make reasonable distinctions based on their values and beliefs. I think that.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
The legal precedent for lawsuits, yeah, right? Like
it says in this chapter that the federal statute protects religious liberty, so that's the federal.
Okay. Where did you find that?
It's oh gosh, what page is this? I don't know what page it's on. I'm looking at it.
Oh, that was in your notes. Okay.
Yeah, it's like right above where it's like indented a little bit more, and it talks about what the Federal Dictionary Act is. It's like it's in that paragraph right above it. It talks a little bit about it in regards to like when that whole thing about Hobby Lobby happened, and they had to like I think Hobby Lobby got sued. I forget exactly what it was, but
okay.
But yeah. Oh, okay, that's right. So I think it was like an employee or employees of Hobby Lobby, like within their benefits, something like they weren't given birth control. There's something like that. I don't remember exactly what had happened. But anyway, that's where it talks about the federal law.
Okay.
What it protects.
Okay, that's good.
Oh, yeah. Should we move on to the next question?
Yeah.
Okay. So what threat should the LDS Church be concerned about? I feel like you guys kind of touched on that with talking about bishops if bishops ever have to be forced to marry people who aren't in the church.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I mean, and the fact that like the whole Belgium thing, like we could possibly lose our right to even be married in the temple. Like that's painful to me to think about. Like that's so sad.
Well, and we'll be okay because we can still say that they'll just change it so that we're not married in the temple, we're sealed in the temple, which is what we are anyway. and we'll be okay.
Yeah, but
we would just have to
it still
go.
makes me sad.
Yeah, we would just have to go to a civil service before, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not trying to discredit
that, you know,
the ceremony of it all
Yeah.
or like the covenant of it all, but like as a convert, my husband and I got married like 6 months after I was baptized, so we weren't able to get sealed in the temple until a year later. So I like feel like it's a help too in like recognizing, not recognizing, I'm trying to like be careful with my words, but
so in Europe they don't have to wait, you know.
Yeah.
They get married. Right. They get married and then the next day they go to the temple or something, or even the same day, you know. They don't have to wait for a year.
Yeah. So
but,
No, I like it's not anything against people who like my regular marriage or whatever, and then which is have that right. It's sad. Like for people who do want to get married in the temple and have the opportunity, like we can't even have that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we want to fight for religious freedom for sure. I think it gave examples like where should we be concerned about, and I just felt like in every area we should we need to be concerned, right? Because it talked about if you lose your religious freedom, like once we can't exercise our religion, then, and with the Supreme Court justices ruling, like we learned last week, they took the word exercise out. Remember that? They said that we could our religion, we could debate our religion or whatever, but they didn't use the word exercise anymore. So that is a big problem if we can't exercise our religion. So.
Yeah. Well, and another thing is like I was thinking about the kid who got suspended from school and this lady who job and her home and stuff over like trying to, I guess technically, exercise her religious freedom. But like I was thinking about it, you know, we thought that we're at the day where you know, I mean, no, it's not the exact same as Joseph Smith's day. We're not like crossing planes or anything like that. But I do think it could get to the point where we could end up in jail for expressing our beliefs. We could end up, you know, being persecuted heavily for our beliefs. It will happen again, and that's so sad and scary. And so, like, the way to help prevent that is to defend other people's religious beliefs so that they're on our side as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
My mom shared with me a story like this past spring about this student in a Catholic university was like trying to sue the university because they wouldn't like let him or her, I can't remember, but they wouldn't let him or her, like, I think they were Muslim or something. They wouldn't let them practice like their religion on campus, and so that student sued the university. I don't know the outcome of it, but just things like that too. I wonder. Well, I feel like BYU, like though they are like a church school, like they still let you as a student like practice your own religion, just as long as you are consistent with it. That's what I've seen. Is that correct?
I don't know. I know you have to have a bit your honor, your ecclesiastical.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's right. Like you have to live with according to the honor code.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No. Well, it would be better if they would just let us have our religious freedom. Everybody would be better off. The adoption agencies would be better off. Now that there's religious groups are pulling out of the adoption agency, you know, they can't do that anymore. All those children lost places where they can be helped, you know?
Yeah, because it's the focus in all the wrong places.
Yeah, all of them are going to be government-sponsored adoption agencies now, and it helps less people. So, yeah.
All right. So, how can the justice system be so biased? I think we kind of answered this last week as well.
I think it happened little by little. Like I keep picturing that video where they had the religious freedom building or whatever, and then it showed people chopping away at the bottom until it was lopsided. Happening in very small steps. People, they're just taking one little step at a time, and it's just eroding our religious freedom.
Yeah, and I think it happens like too when every step is based on the step before instead. It should be based on the foundation. And that hasn't happened. So
even changing words, you know, like changing the definition of the word tolerant. You know, like that happened at the UN, but now it's feeding into our documents and our culture. Changing definitions, and just little by little it's taking it away.
Yeah, and they're listening more to what the world wants rather than what the original Constitution stated.
Yeah. Or the really loud minority, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was interesting, the examples of like Duck Dynasty, both and Hobby Lobby, they all had such powerful support from all the public that they put Duck Dynasty back on. Chick-fil-A had huge sales after they did it. Like that's what has to happen is believe in religious liberty. We have to fight. Like they have to know that we have to watch for those little things that are happening and then fight against it.
Well, I know that like Chick-fil-A, I don't know if you knew about this, but Chick-fil-A, their owners are Christians.
Yeah.
And so they came out saying like we don't support gay marriage. They also don't serve food on Sundays. Like, you know, I don't know if they're LDS, but they're Christian. And
they're Christian.
And I remember when they first came out with that, like they got so much persecution from the left hand, but the right hand like came out like crazy in supporting them. Even my family was like, "Oh, we're going to Chick-fil-A today." Like, you know.
They had lines all the way around the store, all hours of the day and night, like that, or you know, however it was open. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what has to happen. It didn't take very long for the opposition to be like, "Oh, okay, they're give up," you know, on that one. They move on. So.
Or do you want me to finish
That's
up?
all.
Okay, I can do my little spiel, I guess. All right. We talked about how do we achieve fairness for all, and then we mentioned that people want tolerance and equality, but yet they don't let other people have that freedom. We defend others' rights, that First Amendment right that you talked about. There was a least restrictive means, which is, for example, you talked about the photographers are all gone except for the one photographer. Says they have to take the pictures since no one else can. If it was fair, society would be communistic. It wouldn't ever be completely fair or equal, but we can work towards it. Fairness is used intentionally instead of equality to all. As a parent, you and the child may not have equal rights, but you can still be fair. People have to be kind and considerate. We talked about what happened to Richard and why did the flower shop lady all of a sudden get sued. The third-party lawsuit is unfamiliar. And how did they come into the picture? Protect those who refuse to offer services that go against the beliefs and values. The RFRA is a national law that was trying to be passed and was attacked, and so will the First Amendment law while it's trying to be passed. We talked about what do we do if there's a sign that allows anybody to refuse service, yet we can't have discrimination on the other hand. We talked about the First Amendment Act is about marriage specifically, not discrimination, which is where the act got confused. Talked about bishops refusing to do same-sex marriage, and they're still considered discriminatory. Your experience in Belgium with people getting married in the church and still in the temple. For safety issues, they can't get married in the temple. About how governments are supposed to protect the liberty of all citizens, so they should be able to express themselves and liberty freely. We talked about how the world is scary because we largely punish for our beliefs, like Joseph Smith. We've lost the word exercise, the way we saw our beliefs. We have to live according to the honor code in order to not get kicked out of school. Everything would be better if we were able to express our religious freedom. We talked about how the justice system is biased steps, and that the right side is loud, but they are listened to more than the Constitution is, and that even though the opposition is loud, we are too.
Yeah.
So that's all.
All right.
Okay. All right.
Very
have a good night.
Yeah, have a good Thanksgiving next week.
Yeah. See you in 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Good night.
See you later. Bye.